In order for me to find my next read, I have made a list here 1 to 12, and I'm going to be rolling a die to see what number I get, and that's going to be what I pick up next. So really quickly, I just went through and wrote down the titles of some of the books that I've been kind of wanting to read, and also in the mix I have books that I've put in the back burner that I was so excited to read at one point, but they've kind of just stayed there with me purchasing newer books and seeing newer titles. Some books just get left unread, and at one point I was really excited to read them. So some of the titles are The Fury, The London Sand Society, The Last Thing He Told Me, Adelaide, What the River Knows, Electra, Stone Blind, A Million Junes, We Are the Brennans, Things We Never Got Over, White Smoke, and The Broken Girls. Do you want to come roll it? Pick up the one that says 12, either the jade one or the red one. Do you have your phone with you?
No.
Go get it. Run, 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 run. Okay, so go ahead and roll it and film yourself doing it. Or like, just not yourself, but like your hand. What number is it?
4.
So 4 is Adelaide. So that is right over here. Let's see. So Adelaide is what my husband rolled. So this one I did get with Book of the Month, and I got this in April of last year. So it's been quite some time since I've had it. This is by Genevieve Wheeler. I'm gonna be honest, I completely got this because of the cover. I have no idea what this is about, but let's go ahead and read it real quick. It says, for 26-year-old Adelaide Williams, an American living in dreamy London, meeting Rory Hughes was like a lightning bolt out of the blue. This charming Englishman was the one she wasn't even looking for. With unflinching honesty and heart, this relatable debut from a fresh new voice explores grief and mental health while capturing the timeless nature of what it's like to be young and in love with your friends, with your city, and with the person who will not love you back. Okay, so I'm intrigued. I'm excited to read this. Thank you for your participation. So the sun is starting to set. I will insert a clip because it looks beautiful outside. The clouds look so fake, and I was just outside admiring the sunset and feeling good about the book. I am on page 52 and I have a really good feeling about this book. I think I'm really gonna love it. So before the day ended, I wanted to give like my first impressions and kind of explain a bit what the book is about. So the book is written in first person. We follow Adelaide's point of view. And Adelaide is a young girl who is in the process of getting her master's in the UK. She is American, so she is far away from home, far away from her sisters, her mother, her father. So it's the only people that she has in the UK are her 2 closest friends who they live together. One of them she knew from her sorority. Wasn't close with her in undergrad, but now because they both had plans to go to the UK, Adelaide kind of convinced her to move in with her. And then she also meets in the UK in a yoga class, she meets another girl who used to go to the same college. They had never met, but they clicked in that way. The book starts off with Adelaide hitting rock bottom. She has had mental problems. It kind of runs in the family. Her sisters have had mental issues, and also her mom. She was like clinically depressed. Being far from home is not really doing her any good, especially after meeting this boy. His name is Rory, and she meets him, and we already know from the beginning that the relationship did not go well. It is an unrequited love, so she loves him, but he doesn't love her back. So it's kind of like the author is telling us the story of how it's going, how they were meeting, them getting to know each other, but like in parentheses, there's like this negative explanation as well. For example, she is getting to know him, they go to a restaurant, and at the moment, Rory is asking the waitress for any recommendations on their menu. And so at the time, Adelaide thinks that he has a way to include strangers into conversations to make them comfortable. And then like in parentheses, he says, later I find out that this is just him like not being able to make any choices, any decisions for himself. It's a very interesting read because again, we are reading her falling in love with him and how she feels about him. And then later on, it turns it around and it's like turned into something negative. Regardless, I still feel like that giddy feeling, like when you're first getting to know somebody, those first few days of talking to this person and getting to know them, simple things like favorite colors and favorite movies, favorite TV shows, favorite everythings, and just basically explaining like where you come from and all of that. The author has a really good way of like explaining those feelings because I really do feel like I'm being taken back. For example, like whenever me and my husband first met, and like I'm like remembering those first dates, and like I'm really like blushing as I'm reading this book. Like I'm loving it a lot. And I just want to read something that she wrote in her author's note. So she says, "This is a work of fiction, as is true in many fictional works. Aspects of the story were inspired by life experiences. However, all of the characters, all of the dialogue, and all of the events described in this book are wholly imaginary. No identification with actual real-life events, organizations, or persons living or dead is intended, nor should any such identification be inferred. But the love, the grief, the pain, the joy, the feelings, those are all genuine, existing, living, and breathing off page. I hope those are the bits that feel most real to you, reader. They're certainly the most real to me." And I just want to say that it's been a while since I've annotated a book. I read the author's note and started reading, and I immediately went to go grab my annotating tools, some tabs, a highlighter, because truly the way that she writes her feelings is something else. Like I am like feeling what feels, and some of these feelings I felt myself, but I was never able to put them into words. I'm no writer, but man, she does a really good job at putting them into words. So it is Friday, June 28th. I owe y'all a reading update because yes, I've been reading quite a bit today. Last night I think I left off on page like 80 something, and right now I'm on page 145, which is the halfway point to the book, and I'm just loving this read. I've been choosing reading over everything else. I really haven't been wanting to like watch TV or even be on my phone. I don't even think I've been on TikTok today, which is a big win. I've been on that app way too often lately, and I'm just glad that I can get my mind off of all of that and just really focus on this book. Officially, my bookmark is now my little tabs, and in no particular like color. I'm not like color coding this to show any feelings, like anything that made me laugh, anything that made me happy or anything like that, which is what I usually do. I've just been highlighting any quotes, any feelings, anything that I can really like relate to, and just putting a random tab, kind of making it look pretty. So I thought I should kind of disclose that there is not really any rhyme or reason to my tabbing. So speaking of like relating to the book, I feel like I really relate to this character in small ways. There is a part where she talks about her feet peeling because she did a foot mask, and it's really funny because I did a foot mask about a week ago and my feet are still peeling to this day. So I thought that was kind of funny. She also is a big fan of Ariana Grande. Her and her friends have been writing their dissertation, and in the midst of them pulling like 12-hour shifts writing dissertations, they listen to Ariana Grande, they eat pizza, which I love pizza. I myself also am a big fan of Ariana. Not saying that I named her after Ariana Grande, but my daughter's name is also Ariana. And then in big ways, I feel like her feelings I have felt before. Unfortunately, our character Rory is a little bit of a douche. He kind of leads her on a lot by being like this perfect Englishman that she has dreamed of. It's like he is a man of her dreams, quite literally. He knows it too, like you just know that he knows it. And she is just putting so much effort for him. It's so sad to see, but then at the same time, when you're like in that position, you really just want to do whatever you can to make this person like you back, because Rory can go days without talking to her and it's so frustrating. Her waiting for a text, waiting for a call, like that anticipation, the feeling of your heart dropping whenever her phone goes off and it's not him, like it is just so heartbreaking. It has happened to me before. I have gone through that years ago. Let's just say I am so glad that I'm married and I don't have to feel those feelings anymore. And my heart tears a little as well for her friends because they care so much for her. These girls like see right through Rory. They know who he is and like they try to be happy for her whenever she comes and she tells them like, oh, Rory has done this, he's this great person, this is what I'm doing for him. And it's just kind of like they want to support her, but at the same time they tell her like, hey, you know, it's not his style to plan something for your birthday, or it's not his style to give you a surprise, don't get your hopes up, which is something that she tends to do quite often. So that dynamic in their friendship, it's like I said, it's heartbreaking. Yeah, the mood and the tone of this book is not 100% happy all the way. I would say it's more, it really is a sad book without it being like tragic. There's nothing really tragic happening yet that I know of. My parents are on their way to come visit me and my daughter, so I might not get much reading done today anymore, but I'm still happy that I was able to read quite a bit, like what, 60-70 pages. Also, under the sleeve, the colors are so cute, like this like reddish, it has a pink undertone to it, and then this lavender, this light lavender color. I really love it. Recently, book of the month did also change like their colors and like the design of like their books under the sleeves, which I'm a big fan of because I have a whole bunch of books that have this ugly yellow mustard color, and like the new colors that they're doing is very much this style, like two colors that really just pop out, and I really love it. I haven't gotten a book of the month in maybe about 3 months because I'm trying to save money and I'm trying to be conscious of that, the fact that I'm no longer working, but I really like these colors. Let me show you what I'm talking about, that ugly mustard. So I have so many copies that are like this, and I even think their bookmarks are like thinner and longer. These are like short and stubbier. Should I read y'all a quote before I let y'all go? Let's see. These were the memories, painful though they were, that she never ever wanted to forget. She was always going to jump into this lake, no matter how dark or dangerous it might turn out to be. She was too intrigued by its shimmering surface to even consider turning away. There was no world in which she wouldn't dive headfirst in love with Rory Hughes. This was the only way. it is also the last day of June, which means I really want to finish this book today so that this can count towards June. I have some on page 154 out of 285. I believe I'm still halfway. I tried reading a little bit yesterday and I got some reading done, but I actually got like this really bad allergic reaction like on my cheeks, and so I decided to just shower, eat, and go to sleep. And I've got like 9 hours of sleep, but for some reason I'm still kind of tired. So I made a cup of coffee. I'm just waiting for it to cool down before I put on the lid. And I'm going to put on some relaxing Zelda music and just going to kick back my feet. My baby, she's yawning at me right now, so I think she's falling asleep, which is good. And I'm gonna get some reading done. It is July 2nd and I did not get to finish this book in June, but that's okay. I am on page 253, so I have about 30 pages left of Adelaide, and I'm stoked to finish this. Like, I was getting ahead of myself and I remembered I need to give a reading update. So since last update, we have started to really discuss the topic of grief, how one can lose oneself with the loss of another person. But it's interesting because we don't get to only see grief in the point of view of someone who's lost someone, but we get to see Adelaide, who is trying to be there for someone who just lost somebody. So Adelaide didn't really lose anyone in her life, but Rory did, and she's just trying to comfort him and trying to be there for him. And she keeps talking about being a pillar for him, but who's gonna be there for her? And it's been such a difficult topic to read about because she is just so in love with this guy and she just wants to be everything to him, but unfortunately, like, he even says Adelaide is a great person, but I just don't love her. And that really sucks. Like, if you are at a point where you don't love a person, you're just there for the perks. You're just there for the attention that you get, the love and the care that you get from that person. It is just so not fair. Just let him go, because Adelaide is at a point in her career where she really could grow, and she's not, because she's too busy taking care of somebody else that doesn't deserve it. So that is basically what I've been reading about, just Adelaide not feeling like she is enough. Last 30 pages to go. Also, my skin is still very irritated. I don't know what could have caused it, and it's really itchy and I'm trying not to scratch it and it's hot. But yeah, last 30 pages. I'm definitely gonna finish this today. I am now done with Adelaide and I'm so happy that I'm going to give this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I haven't had a 5-star in a while, considering the fact that I haven't been reading that much. Definitely loved this book. It is very real, very emotional, and I would not suggest you read this if you are down in the dumps, because it is quite emotional. Final thoughts. I loved how the author wrapped everything together. I loved the ending that she gave to Adelaide. I feel like after all of the emotional experiences and the downfall that Adelaide suffered, she was able to get back up, and that is very inspiring, but at the same time very realistic. Like, hitting rock bottom can happen at any moment, and it was very conclusive, like finding out what Adelaide has, like her getting diagnosed, and all of that was very satisfying. I really disliked Rory Hughes, our main male character. He was just the worst for Adelaide. He was not a bad person, he just was not Adelaide's person. So it was really hard to remember that he's a person, that he also has feelings. But the end, the author made us realize that, yeah, he was awful to Adelaide, but he's still a person, and Adelaide did have a purpose in his life, which is very satisfying as well. It made me hate Rory a little less. I appreciate that as well. Look at all these stunning tabs. There's one towards the end that says, she fell fully in love with him as she always did, jumped in without hesitation. It was chilling and exhilarating, like swimming outside in winter, an icy rush, but it was also painful and numbing and impossibly cold. It was never a comfortable kind of love, no matter how desperately she tried to bring warmth to the relationship. Here's another one. Love was challenging, complex, unforgiving, yes, but love was also meant to feel easy, comfortable, not whatever it was Adelaide felt. Something akin to her heart being grated slowly. Like, she knew Rory was wrong for her the entire time. So early on in the book, Adelaide text Rory, and he starts to ignore her. He starts to just leave her on read for days at a time. I've had that happen to me before, where you're just waiting for your phone to ring and it rings and it's not the person that you wanted it to be, and your heart breaks. Or it rings, your notification goes off, and it's something random like Duolingo reminding you that you haven't done your lesson in X amount of days. And that feeling when that person finally texts you, but it's not like satisfying, you know what I mean? The author kind of puts it into words here. She says, Adelaide blinked, unclear on what exactly she was feeling. It wasn't as uplifting as relief, but not as heavy or complete as disappointment. This feeling teetered somewhere between the two, the center point on an emotional seesaw. So yeah, highly recommend reading Adelaide by Genevieve Wheeler. I wonder if she has any more works. Again, we'll look into that because I really enjoyed her writing. It wasn't complex and it was simple enough for you to find it relatable. And I'm surprised because sometimes the book of the month picks are a bit questionable, and lately I've been reading some book of the month books that have been a huge letdown. So I'm so hopeful still in book of the month and grateful that this is in my hands thanks to them. Gonna put this back up here. Other than that, that is the end of this reading vlog. Hope you guys enjoyed watching as much as I've enjoyed making it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one.